Coming up on OU Nightly, bone-dry weather and wicked wind mean the perfect conditions for wildfires. And the Norman community comes together to remember an Oklahoma teen some say is the victim of bullying. Plus, new information on the Norman Library closed due to black mold. This is OU Nightly. Thanks for watching OU Nightly. I'm Victoria Anderson.
And I'm Spencer Plato. We begin tonight with a potentially dangerous situation when it comes to wildfires.
Yeah, let's get right over to the largest team of collegiate meteorologists. Carlin McCrary heads it up for us. Carlin.
Thank you, ladies. We do have a red flag warning stretching across most of Oklahoma right now. You can see most of the state is shaded in that pink. That is where we're watching for that fire danger risk. And something that is definitely contributing to this risk is the temperatures. We're feeling 86 here in Norman. But for current conditions outside, to see what it really feels like, let's send it over to OU Nightly meteorologist C.D. Finley.
Hey, thanks, Carlin. I am out here on the South Oval where it is blazing hot. I'm getting pelted by the sun right now, and it is also bone dry. In terms of humidity right now, we're at about 18% humidity, and those winds aren't helping that fire weather danger either. Those winds have definitely been gusting in and out and about pretty much all day. So I know, Carlin, you've got some other weather headlines, so I'm going to go ahead and send it back to you in the studio.
Thank you, CD. That is definitely what we are watching, those higher wind speeds. And moving on into weather headlines, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the fire weather reports we're going to see, the fire threat tomorrow, and a cold front that we're looking ahead on into the rest of the week. Ladies.
Thanks, Carlin. Norman is right in the middle of this fire weather warning. That means fire crews are on high alert. OU Nightly reporter Bailey Coyle is live with details. Bailey, what are officials doing to prepare?
I spoke to a Norman Fire Department captain earlier today, and he said that when the fire danger is high, like it is today, that when they receive those calls about wildfires, they will send an additional unit out of precaution to those wildfires. I also spoke to the state forester today about these risks.
46 fires that burned around 9,000 acres.
That's how many fires the Oklahoma Forestry Services saw this weekend. And it's just the beginning of fire danger season.
So the things that make it really tough today and tomorrow are there's going to be high winds. Humidity will drop down below 40%. And we're looking like right now during our peak hours of temperatures, which is the other thing, temperatures are going to be.
Danny Attaway, Norman Fire Department captain, says they are more worried about this wildfire season, but they are ready.
Yes, we talk about it almost every day. And that's the thing, you know, I mean, when we come to work, whether it's a sports team or you're in an office, everybody has a goal that they have to work towards. So this is just one of the things that we talk about. We kind of game plan every day, every shift.
Mark Gorler, state forester, says the most common wildfires start from past debris burnings.
If you've done any outdoor burning, any brush piles or anything like that over the past couple of days, make sure that they're dead out. Go out there and check.
During high fire days, the most important resources are water and people.
We'll add an additional unit to those calls because it's always easier to cancel a unit than get there and need it. So basically we just send more resources.
In order to prevent wildfires from happening over these next couple of days, be sure not to burn any trash outside, be careful with those cigarette butts, and to be careful if you plan to grill with a charcoal grill. Now, both departments say that if you do see a fire, to call 911 immediately. Reporting live, Bailey Coyle, OU Nightly.
Thank you, Bailey. Now to the latest on the death of a non-binary student from Owasso High School. OU Nightly's Kaylee Carnine was here in Norman as many gathered to remember Nex Benedict.
Owasso police are still investigating 2 weeks after the death of 16-year-old Nex Benedict. Here's what we know. Benedict died one day after a fight at school. This school security camera video shows Nex right before entering the bathroom and being attacked. A preliminary autopsy shows Benedict didn't die of trauma, but toxicology results are pending. Nex was also non-binary, meaning not identifying as male or female. Their death has members of the LGBTQ+ community seeking answers and help from state leaders. A candlelit vigil held in honor of Owasso student Nex Benedict. Members of the Norman community are here, as well as government officials, talking about different LGBTQ+ issues within our state.
That family should be tucking them into bed but instead they have to face every single day without their beloved child because of the hate and rhetoric of the state.
The irony is that Kevin Stitt just a few days ago said bullies should be held accountable. And the irony is that these are the guys that have fomented much of the hate that's going on in this state.
Nex's death continues to galvanize the LGBTQ+ community to keep up public pressure until the investigation is complete. Reporting Kaylee Carnine, OU Nightly.
The state medical examiner's office says toxicology reports usually take several weeks. We will bring you those results as soon as the report is available.
Crews continue to remove mold from the Norman Central Library. The largest branch of the Pioneer Library system closed last November after the mold was discovered. Tonight, we know the library has opened a new temporary location. OU Nightly reporter Morgan Martin joins us live from the pop-up shop. Morgan?
Hey, Spencer, Victoria. I'm here at the pop-up location in downtown Norman that opened just 2 weeks ago, less than a mile from the Central Library location. And the Pioneer Library System says they're excited to temporarily serve the community in a new way.
Proud that we're able to reimagine the library in this way and that we didn't have any interruption to service, even though obviously the building closed.
The mold removal process has been underway since November at the Norman Central Public Library. Director of Communications for the Pioneer Library System, Kelly Stitzman, says the community place offers some of the same services, like a small number of books and a few extras.
This location has maker services, so 3D printing, laser cutting, embroidery, and then programming.
The pop-up will serve Norman while the library is closed, and the books inside the collection will be switched out.
Familiar with our collections, these are the sizzlers, so it's kind of the hot topics, the hot popular titles, so those are constantly coming in.
The city of Norman said today they're expecting an update from contractors sometime this week, so OU Nightly will continue to follow that story. In downtown Norman, Morgan Martin, OU Nightly.
Thank you, Morgan. The 2024 presidential candidates set their eyes on Super Tuesday after this Saturday's primary in South Carolina. OU Nightly senior political correspondent Noah Mack breaks down what happened this weekend.
Well, former President Donald Trump beats out former Governor Nikki Haley in her home state. Trump garnered 47 delegates, while Haley snags only 3 delegates from the state's 50 total. But Haley is not backing out yet. I spoke to one of her campaign officials from South Carolina, and she says the results from the primary reflect that there's still a lot of people craving an alternative to Trump.
They want to be able to make a choice. So our goal is to just keep her going, keep the momentum up so that the people in the other states that don't have these primaries are not just going to be given one option, because that's not really democracy if you look at it that way.
The next presidential primary vote takes place tomorrow when Michigan voters head to the polls. And as he eyes tomorrow night's vote, former President Donald Trump and family are filing an appeal in this civil fraud trial. OU Nightly's Darby McCormick has that and the rest of today's national and international headlines from the News Center.
Donald Trump, his adult sons, and 2 former Trump Organization officials are appealing the judgment in the New York civil fraud case. Earlier this month, they were asked to pay over $400 million after being found liable for fraud, conspiracy, and issuing false financial statements. They were also accused of inflating the value of real estate assets to get more favorable loan and insurance rates. An active duty member of the U.S. Air Force has died after setting himself on fire in protest of the Israel-Hamas war. Aaron Bushnell live-streamed himself igniting the flames outside of the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C., yelling "Free Palestine." Bushnell was taken to the hospital where he later died. During the live stream, Bushnell said he, quote, will no longer be complicit in genocide. In Europe, farmers are protesting against cheap supermarket prices and unfair competition from abroad. The agricultural federations that organized the protests said that European policymakers have failed to listen to farmers' concerns in the press release today. The federations demand to end the European free trade policies. EU agriculture ministers met today to discuss responses to the crisis the sector is facing. Victoria, Spencer, back to you.
Thank you, Darby. Coming up on OU Nightly, we have the details that future homeowners need to know.
And how mortgage and housing costs will impact your wallet.
And tips from tax experts for first-time filers.
How to fix mistakes in your forms when we return. It's tax season and many people are starting to think about filing. OU Nightly's Olivia Hayes has what to watch out for in today's Money Matters.
Spencer, taxes can be stressful and it can be very easy to make a costly mistake. The IRS says common errors include misspelling a name, typing in the wrong social security number, choosing the wrong filing status, and not listing your dependents correctly. You can find all the tax forms and any updates on changes for this on irs.gov. We have some good and bad news for you if you're in the housing market. Home sales climbed 3% due to falling mortgage rates in January. That's according to the National Association of Realtors. However, the average cost of homes went up 5% in the last year. This may be short-lived as mortgage rates continue to increase, inching closer to 7%. And AT&T is reimbursing customers for Thursday's network outage. The company will issue a $5 credit, which it says is the average cost of a full day of service. Spencer, Victoria.
Thank you, Olivia. Coming up on OU Nightly, it's the one-year anniversary of an EF2 tornado touching down in Norman.
We have the record-breaking stats from that historic night.
Into Wednesday. I'll have all that and more coming up. And welcome back to OU Nightly. Happy Monday. We do have a very warm day outside, along with a lot of other things. That humidity is very low. We also have quite a wind, south-southwest, 14 miles per hour. All these things are contributing to that fire danger we are seeing across the state. As of right now, we do have a red flag warning for majority of the state. That includes the Oklahoma City Metro, the Tulsa Metro, along with us here in Norman. So a lot of people are at risk for fire danger into tonight and also into tomorrow as well. As for tonight, though, you can see the areas that are elevated are more in the western part of the state. That includes Woodward, Elk City, Lawton, up into Guyman. Critical fire danger outlook. So that is something that we are watching, especially into the rest of the night and tomorrow. But for now, I'm going to toss it over to OU Nightly meteorologist Aiden Bruns at the weather desk to talk a little bit about what we're seeing right now across the state. Aiden.
Yeah, Carlin, right now our fires are mostly pretty prominent in the eastern portion of the state, and also we do have that smoke that's out and making the sky a bit hazy. So that's really what's contributing to what we have going on right now. But back to you.
Thank you, Aiden. And as for current temperatures, once again, that's definitely contributing to that fire danger. We are at 85 here in Norman, 87 in Oklahoma City. This is summer temperatures, and we're in February. So we definitely broke a past record high, 82 degrees in 1996. We hit 87 today for February 26th. So definitely something crazy that we don't usually see this time of year. Current humidity as well, we are very low, 20% here in Norman, 18% in Oklahoma City. And as you extend on westward into the state where that critical and elevated risk is, you can see it's even lower over there. So it's definitely something that we are watching, along with those wind gusts. Once again, you could just take a look in the western part of the state. That's where we are seeing those very prominent wind gusts over there. But as for fire danger tomorrow, we are definitely starting to see that pop up in the area, and we're also going to see it into the hours of tomorrow with those higher winds and the lower humidity. That's going to continue. So definitely keep that in mind into your Tuesday. As for wind alerts, though, we do have a wind advisory out until tomorrow at midnight. That's something that we are watching that is definitely definitely making that fire danger risk a lot higher. And that once again includes most of Oklahoma across the state. So we're watching that along with the future wind gusts. What we are going to see is those wind gusts start to ramp up into the 30s by tomorrow at 4 p.m. So definitely keep that in mind. It is going to be quite a windy day tomorrow. And then continuing on into Wednesday, once again, we are going to see those higher wind gusts. So definitely something to keep in mind along into Wednesday, where we are going to see a little bit of a relief from that wind, but what we are going to see is wind chill values in the 20s. So that's something that we are watching into Wednesday, and they're only going to start to cool our temperatures down quite a bit, especially into Wednesday. We're at 87 today, and we're going to cool down into 48 by Wednesday. That is definitely something that we have to keep in mind as far as dressing for class, dressing to walk outside. You're going to have to put the sandals away and put the coats back on, especially into Wednesday, but we are going to start to warm back up once again into the rest of the week. Tuesday, Wednesday, look at that temperature, 48 degrees. We're going to stay fairly cold, but that sunshine is going to remain into the rest of the weekend. Friday, Saturday, 78 degrees, and then we're going to start to warm back up into the 70s, 56 by Monday. So we're definitely watching that into the rest of the week. We're going to keep that sunshine around, so be sure to have your sandals back out, put those coats back out as well, because those temperatures, we're having roller coaster temperatures.
Yeah, I've been loving this weather. It's nice not to feel too cold or too hot when I'm walking around outside.
See, now I agree. I don't like the indecision. You mentioned sandals, but I'm also like putting socks on with my sandals in this weather.
Socks and sandals, you can have both. Are they good together? Maybe not. But I mean, we might need them with the temperatures. You got to keep both around.
Thank you, Carlin, for that. And moving on to some more wild weather. Today marks 1 year since a tornado hit Cleveland County. The largest team of collegiate meteorologists covered the storms as they raced across Oklahoma. An EF2 tornado tore through southeast Norman around 9:15 p.m., damaging homes and businesses and toppling trees. 12 people were injured in Norman, but thankfully no one died. The National Weather Service confirmed a total 13 tornadoes across the Sooner State, breaking the record for the most tornadoes in February.
Switching gears, OU baseball had their home opener at Dale L. Mitchell Park this weekend.
And OU softball looks to keep their streak alive on the road. Emma McAndrews has the details.
2 OU squads possibly have their last Bedlam matchups this weekend. See overtime buzzer beaters and hardware, plus records were broken on the mat. All this next in sports. Hello, I'm Emma McAndrews, and it's time for sports. OU men's basketball traveled to Stillwater on Saturday for the last Big 12 regular season Bedlam showdown. OSU's Javian Small could have sealed the game here, but this miss at the line would send the game to overtime. A rebound by the Sooners would allow for junior Javian McCollum to hit this overtime buzzer beater to take down the Cowboys 84-82. However, head coach Porter Moser doesn't foresee the rivalry going away.
I see a world where this isn't our last Bedlam game. That's what I see the world in that. But I do, win or lose, and I know it's tough. They played Oklahoma State and Oklahoma. Both those teams were resilient, coming back and forth in a high emotional game. What performances by a lot of their players and our players on stage in an emotional game, and I give them total credit.
And back at the Lloyd Noble Center, the OU women's basketball team proved Oklahoma is the Sooner State. OU ran away with the Bedlam victory early, finishing the game Saturday 91-56. Head coach Jenny Baranchek credits the sweep to the team's culture.
It's those things where they're constantly giving credit to the other person. I think that's a pretty cool culture, and we've had to fall down and we've had to learn some things. And I think in games, that's when other teams go on a run. It's not something that all of a sudden you just do different. I think they just trust one another, good or bad, and let the scoreboard take care of itself.
Sooner softball went on the road to the Mary Nutter Collegiate Classic in California over the weekend and extended their win streak to 67 games. OU went 5-0 on the weekend, shutting out San Diego State, Seattle, and Loyola Marymount. OU outscored the opponents 43-5, and Tiare Jennings moves to second in program history for all-time RBIs. And back here in Norman, it was home opening weekend for OU baseball as they took on Wright State in a 4-game series. The Sooners dominated the first 3 games, taking game 1 20-0, but fell in Sunday's finale 12-2. OU women's gymnastics rewrote history against West Virginia at the Lloyd Noble Center Friday night. The Sooners broke an all-time program scoring record with a 198.675 in the win over West Virginia. And here's Reagan Smith earning a perfect 10 on beam, her 7th overall, tying Sooner legend Maggie Nichols. Also happening in Sooner sports, OU men's gymnast Fuzzy Benais was named to the U.S. men's national team. OU women's tennis upset number 5 North Carolina State. OU men's triple jumper BJ Green earns a Big 12 title, and former Sooner Trey Young is out for 4 weeks. Victoria, Spencer.
Thank you, Olivia. And when we return, a heartwarming reunion after a 9-month deployment.
See how families welcomed home their loved ones next on OU Nightly.
I'm Bryn Mead at the OU Nightly Update Desk. The Oklahoma County Detention Center reports the first inmate death of 2024. Jail officials say they found 32-year-old Derek Struther unresponsive in his cell this morning. They say he was rushed to the hospital but later died. Struther was booked into the jail last December on several charges, including second-degree murder. The state medical examiner's office will determine his cause of death. Victoria, Spencer.
Thanks, Bryn. Take a look at this heartwarming homecoming as Oklahoma National Guardsmen return home from a 9-month deployment in Africa.
The homecomings began this weekend and are continuing today as Task Force Tomahawk reunite with their families after almost a year. The task force focused on regional stability and U.S. interests in Africa. Congratulations to all, and thank you for your service.
Well, enjoy this warmer weather while it lasts, because you'll probably want to break out those coats once again.
Let's get one last look at the weather to see when you want to substitute out those shorts. Carlin.
Yeah, definitely bring those coats back out, especially into the rest.
We're so sorry for the technical.
Especially for the rest of the day, we are going to have a windy day, and then into the 7-day, you can see that we are going to cool down just a little bit into Wednesday, and that's what we're going to do.
We apologize for the technical difficulties. Thank you for watching OU Nightly. I'm Victoria Anderson.
And I'm Spencer Plato. Good night.